This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
5 o'clock here on your Wednesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this March 4th. 14 states voted. 2 candidates came out on top. The Democratic candidates leading the pack after Super Tuesday.
Starting next week, you will start finding census information in your mailbox. How Marion County is working to make sure that everyone is accounted for.
And as college basketball tournaments begin, the NCAA is taking steps to monitor the coronavirus. The efforts they're putting in place to make sure the games are safe for both players and fans. But first, we need to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right. We have Kyle Mounts in the house with us today.
Good morning.
Alyssa's down in Tennessee helping folks there with some storm coverage. So, Kyle, it's great to have you here this morning. What can we expect in the forecast?
Yeah, we've got some pretty good weather, especially if you're heading out the door right now. It is certainly a little bit on the chilly side, but that's to be expected here in early March. We've got a temperature of 38 right now. So the temperature is actually starting to come up a little bit, but we're getting a little more of that breeze out of the southwest between 10 and 15 miles per hour. So that makes it feel more like about 30 degrees out there. Nice and quiet. We look back to the northwest, though, and this is where we see a few of these showers coming together a little bit better over Illinois. So I think we will see a couple of those showers, especially over the northern half of central Indiana throughout the morning. Right now, though, you're at 41 in Muncie, 34 in Bloomington, and we've got middle to upper 30s around Indianapolis, 37 for you in Plainfield, and 38 in Zionsville. So as you head out this morning, especially north of the city, might want to take along that umbrella for a couple of scattered showers. The rest of us will be dry with those temperatures warming quickly, already knocking on the door of 50 by 11 a.m.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is our Traffic Now map. We want to plan out your commute this morning. If you're heading in from the east side along westbound I-70 from Post Road over here to the North Split, it's a quick 10-minute drive, so that won't slow you down at all. That is running up to speed. Let's take a live look out there. This is I-70, a view here near Sherman Drive. Of course, we'll continue to keep our close eye on your commute this Wednesday morning. We'll let you know if there are any crashes or delays.
2 Democratic candidates clearly coming out on top after delegates from 14 states were up for grabs last night. Former Vice President Joe Biden winning big on Super Tuesday with many victories across the South.
Bernie Sanders, though, still appears to be ahead, securing delegate-rich California. ABC's Inez de la Cutera breaks down those results.
Overnight, Joe Biden making a remarkable comeback.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing.
With some states still too close to call, the former vice president sweeping the South, winning at least 9 states on Super Tuesday.
I think Joe has the track record of unification across the aisle, and I think that's really key right now.
After a series of early losses, Biden getting a last-minute surge from his landslide victory in South Carolina and from Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, who endorsed him after they dropped out.
We're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
But it's still far from over for that other guy. Bernie Sanders went into this as the front runner and racked up big numbers in California, Colorado, Utah, and Vermont. Voters came out in droves, some in Texas waiting more than 3 hours to vote, Utah breaking records, and in Virginia, turnout was almost double what it was in 2016. Super Tuesday was also the first time Mike Bloomberg was on the ballot, and while he did get his first delegates, the former mayor failed to win any states. And the same goes for Elizabeth Warren. Both are now facing calls to drop out.
I know we can do it, and you know who else knows it? Donald Trump.
Bloomberg and Warren are both looking past Super Tuesday. They spent the night campaigning in states that will be holding some of the next big voting contests in a week. Inez de la Cutera, ABC News, Washington.
Indiana's primary elections are still a couple of months away. Election Day will be held May 5th. Early voting will begin on April 7th.
At 5:04, residents concerned about development in the Broad Ripple Park area, they're set to testify at a public hearing this afternoon. The meeting will be held at the Department of Metropolitan Development to discuss turning an old library into a community center. We told you earlier this year that the facility would also include primary care facilities for Community Health Network. Indy Parks leaders say that the partnership would help to fund the $19 million project. Some neighbors are fighting the proposal, though, saying the park should remain separate from private companies and that there are other vacant buildings in the area that the health network could use. The public hearing is set for 1 p.m. today at the City County building.
RTV6 is working for you with a warning about a pattern of crime by unsuspecting thieves just west of downtown Indianapolis. This is one of several videos caught on doorbell cameras showing a person wearing a yellow reflective vest walking out of homes with valuable items. RTV6 found multiple police reports of theft in the Central State neighborhood area in the last 6 weeks. In Joanne Sergi's case, the person stole a TV from inside of her house. She says it's a newer complex and the thief may be taking advantage of construction in the area.
So they obviously are seeing what's going on. They're watching people, or they're just probably walking the streets to see an opportunity, and they're taking it.
IMPD says all of these cases are being investigated and they are adding extra patrols in the area.
It is 5:06. An Anderson mother convicted of neglect in her toddler son's death will spend decades in prison. 28-year-old Jennifer Harris was sentenced to 40 years in prison. She was found guilty of neglect, resulting in the death of her 18-month-old Harlan Haynes. The toddler died in 2018 after a car crash with Harris's boyfriend, Dylan Tate, but doctors later found that his death was actually caused by injuries stemming from abuse. Tate was found guilty of murder last summer and was sentenced to life in prison.
A bill heading to the governor's desk would remove student test scores from teacher evaluations. The House and Senate have both voted to get rid of the standardized test results that were added in 2011. Those evaluations are used to determine teachers' pay raises. The change is one of the things teachers and their supporters were calling for during last November's Red for Ed rally at the State House.
Well, starting next week, you'll be seeing mail from the United States Census Bureau as the 2020 census kicks off.
For the first time ever, you'll be able to self-respond online. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with what the city is doing to make sure every single person is counted. And it's important they are, Kelsey.
Hey, yeah, it is important that they are counted. And this map right here represents all the areas that are undercounted during the last census, the dark blue being the most undercounted. And each person that's not counted could cost the city $30,000 over the next 10 years. And that's why the city created Count Me Indy, a campaign to ensure every person living in Marion County is accounted for on this year's census. Callie Kennington is the campaign manager for Count Me Indy, and she says the census needs to know who's in your community so they know what federal funding your community needs.
And that goes towards broadly education, healthcare, transportation, emergency services. So to give you an idea of the kinds of programs that those are, that includes Medicare, federal Pell Grants, SNAP, WIC, different services that are going to benefit our city over the next decade.
The campaign is also working to debunk myths that Immigration and Customs Enforcement will have access to these records. Kennington says there are no questions on the census about citizenship, and all census records are sealed for 72 years. Now, if you haven't self-responded by the end of April, that's when you will have census workers start coming to your door. Kennington says they'll come up to 6 times. Now, they are also going to start hosting at the library census events so you can come and self-respond online if you don't have access to the internet. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. DePaul University in Greencastle has announced a new president. The Board of Trustees voted unanimously to appoint Dr. Lori White as DePaul's 21st president. She is currently the vice chancellor for student affairs at Washington University in St. Louis. When she takes over on July 1st, she will be the only African-American woman leading a university in Indiana and one of the few in the nation to do so. White succeeds Mark McCoy, who announced in May he would step down at the end of this academic year.
It is 5:09. Paying for counseling to save a marriage or even overcome addiction, it can get really expensive. So now one local couple is expanding their business so that more people can get the help that they need. Brian and Michelle Peters are opening their second Coffee House 5 location today in Franklin. They opened their first location in Greenwood. That was 8 years ago, with money from each cup going to help pay for addiction and relationship counseling. The couple got their idea after going to counseling to save their marriage and noticing how many other people were having similar issues.
Quite literally had people start to show up on our doorstep and ask for help with their marriages. I started to research the barriers to counseling, and that was the #1 barrier, the cost.
Well, the couple says they've raised about $200,000 towards counseling services so far in the community. Their new location in Franklin is located on West Monroe Street. That's just behind the courthouse. It will open at 7:30 this morning.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
The Women's Big Ten tournament kicks off today, and the first games of all of the March Madness action are just 2 weeks away. As the NCAA prepares for these big events, they are addressing concerns over the coronavirus. The issue was raised after college athlete advocates called on the NCAA to play without fans in the arena. The organization has since announced they assembled a coronavirus advisory panel to monitor the virus. The NCAA says they are getting updates from the CDC. Organization leaders did not say if they were considering removing fans from games.
Well, Purdue is keeping their hopes alive for a chance at the big dance after beating number 18 ranked Iowa last night. The Boilermakers scoring 24 points in the paint early to set them up with a big lead in the first half. Purdue kept up the scoring, beating Iowa for the second time this year, 77-68. Their next game at home is set for Saturday. That's against Rutgers. IU is also looking to get a Big Ten win before that tournament. The Hoosiers face the Minnesota Golden Gophers tonight at 7 o'clock. Right now, they are projected to be a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament. Their final game of the regular season is going to be held Saturday against Wisconsin. The time right now is 5:11. Let's check in with Kyle Mounts.
Yeah, and getting ready to head out the door this morning. You're going to need that coat again, and a few of us the umbrellas. We've got some showers that we're keeping an eye on back in Illinois. Right now, as far as the temperatures are concerned, 38 in downtown, feels like 30 though, as that breeze is starting to kick up. It's going to be with us again today. Temperature 37 in Lafayette, feels like 32 degrees. Here's a look at that southwest breeze, so at least it's from the warmer direction. We'll benefit from that later on this afternoon, but right now about 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. As we go into this afternoon, we could see a couple of those gusts between about 20 and 30 miles per hour. Shouldn't be quite as strong and as gusty as what we had yesterday. And even as we get into the evening drive, those winds do start to drop off. Talked about those showers. They are back around Peoria and northern portions of Illinois right now. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll track those across central Indiana.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much. Recovery efforts are still underway after those deadly tornadoes hit parts of Tennessee. How neighbors are encouraging each other as they work to rebuild their community.
And more than 100 evacuees from the Diamond Princess cruise ship are returning home after being quarantined. Still ahead, the changes the CDC made to the Air Force Base to better protect the public from the coronavirus.
Now let's take you out live here on the east side, I-465 rather, at I-70. The interchange there is traveling smoothly. And the good news right now around the metro area, no crashes on the roads to slow you down. It's 5:12. Stick around. We'll be right back after this short break.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
It is 5:15. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. We're keeping a close eye on your roads as you're heading out there on this Wednesday morning. Here's a look on the northwest side, I-65. This is a view at 56th Street. You can see traffic still pretty quiet there this morning. We'll monitor your roads and let you know if you need to reroute this morning.
More than 120 people who were quarantined for 2 weeks in San Antonio are on their way home this morning. The evacuees were on the Diamond Princess cruise ship and have not tested positive for the coronavirus. They were being held at Lackland Air Force Base during their time in quarantine. 15 other passengers who developed symptoms are still being treated there. Officials say they will be held in isolation until they have at least 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. The CDC modified the release protocol after a woman released last weekend tested positive for the virus. San Antonio's mayor said they are continuing to work closely with the CDC to minimize any exposure to the community. Many of the released evacuees either flew home or took rental cars.
Well, United is the latest airline to waive fees for changing or canceling flights as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. The company says there will be no change fees for any flights booked between Tuesday and the end of March. If customers later decide to cancel, they can apply the ticket value to another flight within the same year. American, JetBlue, and Delta have also announced waiving some of the fees due to that disease.
Recovery efforts are still underway after devastating tornadoes tore through Nashville and Middle Tennessee. At least 24 people have died, and authorities continue to search through the rubble for more people buried underneath.
Dozens of residents in Nashville held a vigil last night, not only to remember those lost, but to find comfort in their own community. The mayor of Nashville and city leaders thanked first responders for their work during that storm. They also emphasized the importance of neighbors helping each other and coming together as the city tries to rebuild.
There's going to be a lot of healing that's going to be required as people adjust. I think this is just a sense, particularly by the council members, of being close together and understanding what everybody is going through.
Tens of thousands there are still without power this morning. The city says the restoration remains a top priority. And it was a pretty wild day of weather yesterday, Kyle. We woke up yesterday morning. We came in with some rain showers left over, and Alyssa's down there right now helping with storm coverage for the tornado. So what's going on right now across the country?
Yeah, so behind that system, Lauren, we got a little bit of a cool pocket. Temperatures still weren't bad yesterday afternoon, but you can see about 5 to 15 degrees and even about 20 degrees colder in the Lexington area. But we already start to see those numbers rebounding off to the west, and we'll get into that this afternoon. Once again, I think many locations will make their way into the 50s. We sit in the 30s right now, 38 in downtown, 37 in Kokomo. A little bit of that southwest breeze, and the breeze will be an issue again today. So if today is your trash day, I don't think we'll have real gusty winds, but that trash can might be knocked over as you get ready and head home and need to pick it up this afternoon. Shouldn't be in the neighbor's yard or anything like that, though. Storm Team 6 radar, there's where we've got a few of these very light showers into portions of Illinois. As we check out TrueCast here for you through the morning hours, you can see a couple of those showers by 8 o'clock this morning around Tipton, Lafayette, also into Kokomo, Hartford City. And as we go toward the late morning hours, a couple of those lingering around Muncie and even into Richmond. But behind that, pretty quickly, we will see the return of some sunshine here as we go through the day. So while we may have a few showers earlier today, it's really going to be a nice second half of our Wednesday. There's the sunshine returning here as we go through the lunch hour into 1 o'clock, and that temperature around 50 degrees. As soon as we clear out the clouds there and we've got that southwest breeze, I think temperatures will take off and we'll get back into the middle 50s later this afternoon. Calling for a high around 55 in Indy, 56 for you in Columbus. Now again, we may hold on to those clouds a little bit longer around Peru and Kokomo, so temperatures upper 40s to around 50 degrees, but that's still just a little bit above average for this time of year. The Thursday planning forecast also looking pretty nice here with temperatures and some sunshine. We'll see those numbers warming back into the 50s, middle 50s again tomorrow. But as we go into Thursday evening, another weak weather system is going to be moving through here. This is 5 o'clock Thursday evening. Fairly dry conditions, but you can see a couple of very light rain showers breaking out here as we go through our Thursday evening. And then into Friday morning, we get a shot of some colder air. It's not going to last all that long, but maybe a few snow showers that mix in with the rain showers. Not going to be a big deal for us, but I think that moves out of here pretty quickly. 7-day planning forecast then shows those highs are going to be in the 50s through Thursday. There's that cool down for Friday, but we rally quickly going through the weekend. 50 on Saturday, Sunday at 60 degrees. Both days will be dry. We need this dry stretch. It looks like rain comes our way once again on Monday. Lauren?
All right, Kyle, thanks so much for keeping a close eye on your roads this morning. Here is a look at I-465 near Westfield Boulevard. This is on the north side of town. Traffic, as you can see, is moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound. No delays. So let's take a look at our traffic now map and plan out your commute as you're heading southbound this morning through Hamilton County on Interstate 69. No delays. A 5-minute drive from State Road 37 down to the I-465 ramps. Let's take you over to the west side right now. No issues on the west side for you drivers out there. This is I-465 at Rockville Road. We'll continue to monitor those roads for your Wednesday.
A California homeowner turned a sprinkler into a security system to stop thieves in the area. Video caught on security camera shows a person on a bike right on her property. And when he's too close to her truck, he gets hit with the water and goes away. The homeowner says that thieves have been stealing tools and other items from cars in her neighborhood. To protect her stuff, she set up the motion-activated sprinkler, which proved to be pretty effective. Stay off my lawn.
That is a good idea. Well, singer Carrie Underwood already has a line of fitness wear, but now she's adding a new exercise app and book. The Grammy Award winner's app is called Fit 52, and it's full of workouts designed for people on the go. Underwood says it incorporates what she's been doing for years, trying to be healthy 52 weeks of the year. The app is currently available for Apple users. Her new book, called Find Your Path, includes more about her active lifestyle, diet, and workouts. This is on sale now in stores and also online.
A man is testing his speed and design with a custom-made suit with wheels. After the break, a look at Roller Man's latest invention.
And we're monitoring your morning drive as things are picking up here, heading into the downtown area. I-65, a view from West Street and MLK. Traffic's moving along up to speed, as you can see. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. The time right now is 5:25. It's Wednesday morning, and here's a look at your drive over on the east side. I-70, a view from Sherman Drive. You can see traffic here is moving along smoothly, both eastbound and westbound. We'll continue to keep our eyes on the roads.
A French man's invention looks like something out of a comic book, and he even has a name to go with it. Roller Man. A French designer created this custom speed suit so he could pretty much roll anywhere. He first made his super suit in 1994 and has since made 30 more of them. Roller Man says he has reached more than 60 miles an hour in his latest suit. He also hopes to create an actual comic book character based on his invention.
That is crazy.
I don't know if I would just want like my body alone just going 60 miles per hour.
Hit a speed bump.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, not quite as fast as a speeding bullet, but yeah.
Yeah, or like get stuck under that car.
Yeah. A lot of questions.
All right, I guess it could take some villains by surprise that way.
Yes, there you go.
All right, let's check out our forecast and your Wednesday checklist as you head out the door. Going to need the jacket, the sunglasses for this afternoon, and a few of us are going to need that umbrella. You can see a couple of showers there into Illinois. I think they will move across the northern portion of the state here as we go about 7 to 9 o'clock this morning. Out the door, there are those temperatures for you, already back to around 40 degrees by 8 o'clock this morning with that southwest wind on the rise later today. We'll be right back here with more headlines and another check of your forecast on Good Morning Indiana.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Millions of dollars of public funding could be stripped from Indigo after a proposal advanced in the State House.
Yeah, we're taking a look at how that could affect mass transit plans right here in Indianapolis. Plus, the 2020 census will help direct federal funding towards local organizations.
We're working for you this morning, finding out what efforts are being made to make sure every single Hoosier is counted. But first, we need to take a look at your Storm King 6 forecast.
That's right. Here's a look downtown, a view to the west, clear skies, pretty calm out there right now. We do have Kyle Mount standing by to break down what we can expect as we head out the door on this Wednesday. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah, good morning to you. And with those clear skies, you can probably check out the moon pretty bright out there this morning, too. We're getting a little closer to that full moon. That'll happen next week. As we look at temperatures right now with those clear skies, we've got numbers generally in the 30s. Muncie, you're at 41, and those numbers are going to start to increase here as we go through the morning thanks to a southwest breeze. 38 in Indy, 34 in the Bloomington area right now, and there is that southwest wind anywhere from calm in Bloomington to nearly 15 miles per hour in the city. So it will be another day where it's going to be a little bit on the breezy side. These winds will start to get a little bit gusty. We also have the chance for a couple of showers. Now, we look back into Illinois, and you can see these are very light and moving pretty quickly. As you do see a couple of showers, it is not going to last very long or put down much in the way of rainfall, but we'll be moving in around the Benton County area here as we go through the next hour to hour and a half. But this afternoon, really looking nice, going to be a little breezy. We'll get back in some sunshine, and those temperatures recovering with highs back into the middle 50s this afternoon. Lauren's got a check of your traffic.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much. We're going to keep a close eye on those roads right now. There's no issues. There's no issues in the weather department as well, so that is good news for your commute. This is I-70 and Sherman Drive. No problems here. So let's take a look at our drive times as you're heading out the door this morning, heading southbound from the northwest side. I-865 heading to I-70 at the north split. It's a 17-minute commute, so that is traveling up to speed. We do want to begin our election coverage this morning. Super Tuesday turned out to be more than super for Joe Biden.
The former vice president racked up a number of wins, proving the race is not over yet. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders picked up the largest prize, California. John Lawrence joins us now with more.
Joe Biden scores big on Super Tuesday.
So I'm here to report we are very much alive.
The former vice president is projected to win at least 8 Super Tuesday states and says he'll strive to bring bipartisanship back to Washington.
We can't have a never-ending war between the parties. We need a president who can fight, but make no mistake about I can fight. But look, we need as badly, someone who can heal.
Senator Bernie Sanders also collected a healthy amount of delegates Tuesday and says he's not backing down to Biden.
I tell you with absolute confidence, we are going to win the Democratic nomination.
Or anyone else.
And we are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of this country.
Senator Elizabeth Warren's campaign is struggling. She even lost her home state of Massachusetts to Biden.
Cast a vote from your heart and vote for the person you think will make the best president of the United States of America.
Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg doesn't leave Super Tuesday empty-handed. He won American Samoa.
In just 3 months, we've gone from 1% of the polls to being a contender for the Democratic nomination for president.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Despite the big wins for Sanders and Biden, Mike Bloomberg and Elizabeth Warren are showing no signs of slowing down, both campaigning last night in states that will hold some of the next big primaries. Voters in Michigan and 5 other states will go to the polls a week from yesterday.
Covering the State House this morning, a proposal that could slow down, even halt Indigo's future expansion plans has moved forward in the state Senate. The bill would create consequences for Indigo if it doesn't raise 10% of the money for its projects from private donations. Of the $5 to $6 million needed to hit that 10%, Indigo has raised only about $35,000. Yesterday, members of Indigo, the AARP, and other organizations called for lawmakers to reject this bill. They say recent improvements and upgrades could all be erased.
Routes that were an hour and they're now moving to 30 minutes, or the routes moving from 30 minutes to 15 minutes, that 8 that goes every trip, all that goes backwards. It all goes backwards.
Well, Indigo says there are no cities in the country that require public transportation funds to come from donations. The bill will now head back to the House for more consideration. It is 5:35. Starting next week, you'll be seeing some mail from the United States Census Bureau as we kick off the 2020 census. For the first time ever, you'll be able to self-respond online. But for some people living in the Hoosier State, that can be difficult because English isn't their first language.
Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with what the city is doing to ease the language barrier and make sure everyone is counted. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So Spanish, French, Burmese, Hakachin, and Arabic, those are the 5 languages you'll see on these information packets from Count Me Indy as the census comes up starting next month. Count Me Indy has partnered with Luna Language Services to make sure everyone, even those who aren't originally from here, get counted in this year's census. The campaign manager for Count Me Indy says each person who doesn't get counted could cost the city up to $30,000 in federal funding. And she wants to make it clear to everyone that the answers are confidential and can't be shared with any agency or level of government for 72 years.
So that can't be shared with the IRS, ICE, even the President of the United States does not have access to census records. And I really want to emphasize that everyone counts in the census, regardless of citizenship status.
So what are the questions on the census? They want to know your age, birthday, race, ethnicity, phone number, and relationship to the people living in your home. Kennington says there is no question on the census about citizenship. So starting next week, again, you could start receiving that mailing telling you how to self-respond. And if you don't self-respond by the end of April, that's when you're going to see census workers knocking on your door. They're going to come up to 6 times, so you might as well just go ahead and self-respond as early as possible. And Count Me Indy is also going to have programs at the library starting in April where you can come in and self-respond on the internet if you don't have access. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you so much. Great information there. A Kosciuszko County teen is being recognized for his heroic actions after a fiery car crash. 16-year-old Jeb Ritchie was riding in a car with his mom and some friends when traffic suddenly screeched to a halt. Another driver had stopped in the middle of the road, causing a pileup. Melissa Garman was also on the road that day and could not stop in time. Her vehicle hit the car Ritchie was in and immediately burst into flames. Ritchie says that's when his instincts kicked in. He ran to Melissa's car and pulled her to safety before the car exploded.
I do remember being the car on fire. I remember at one point coming to enough that I saw Jeb's face in my window. He said, "I'm going to get you out." That is the only thing I could never forget in the whole accident was I knew that kid. I knew his face. He will forever be my hero.
Melissa is still recovering from her injuries, but she says she is forever grateful to Jeb. Last night, the teen was honored for his bravery at the Decatur City Council meeting.
The Big Ten basketball tournament is back here in Indianapolis. Fans and teams will all be taking over downtown for the next 2 weeks or so. The women's games start this afternoon at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. The first game tips off at 2 o'clock, Illinois versus Wisconsin. Penn State takes on Minnesota after that. The tournament continues with 4 games on Thursday. Purdue plays at noon against Michigan State. As for IU, the Hoosiers finished in 4th place, so they don't have to play until Friday.
The women's tourney continues through Sunday. That night, we'll learn the pairings for the men's tournament, and they'll kick off things at Bankers Life a week from today. This is all just the first dose of March Madness in the Circle City. Along with the Big Ten, the Horizon League finals will be here. Those games are next Monday and Tuesday at the Fairgrounds Coliseum. The high school boys state tourney is underway with state finals on the 28th. The NCAA Midwest Regional comes to Lucas Oil Stadium that same weekend, and the Pacers have 6 home games. The first of those is next Tuesday, and hopefully, Kyle, for all those folks that'll be coming into town, we'll have good weather for them.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to get in on a little bit of rain early next week, but the temperature pattern is really working in our favor. It looks like overall things are going to be pretty mild here, not only for the next couple of weeks, but potentially through much of the month of March. Right now, yeah, a little cool. You're going to need that jacket. 38 degrees for that temperature, but it feels like 30 as we've got the south-southwest wind between about 10 and 15 miles per hour. It's 36 as we look out around the Zionsville area. We've got 37 on the thermometer in Lafayette and lower 40s for you in Muncie. It's 38 in Shelbyville and Greenfield at 36. As we go through today, a couple of those showers, especially northern half of the state this morning. Those will move out quickly. Some sunshine for the afternoon and 54 degrees. We'll talk about more of that warming trend coming our way in just a little bit.
Kyle, thank you. The state of Tennessee reeling in the aftermath of deadly tornadoes. Straight ahead, the latest on the search for survivors and how you can help with relief efforts.
And the Federal Reserve has announced a surprise cut to interest rates coming up while the news is getting mixed reviews on Wall Street. It's 5:40 on your Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Erasers. There's no clean like Mr. Clean.
Welcome back. This morning, the search for survivors continues in Tennessee after multiple tornadoes touched down.
This is a look at the destruction that left at least 24 people dead across Middle Tennessee. Right now in Putnam County, about an hour east of Nashville, more than 70 people are still missing.
Crews are working around the clock conducting search and rescue efforts, and this morning survivors are continuing to pick up the pieces. Camilla Bernal is in Nashville this morning with the very latest.
Piles of rubble and the devastation of buildings and neighborhoods. That behind every pile really represents people. It's businesses that have lost. It's families that are hurting. It's people that have really seen the destruction of this.
A powerful tornado leaving entire communities leveled in Tennessee. The storm striking under the cover of darkness, leaving behind a trail of carnage in the middle of the night. Tennessee's governor says the people of his state need hope more than anything else.
I talked to a person today who had lost everything that they owned completely. They're, walking through rubble trying to find the last pieces of what they owned. And they had previously, earlier in the day, been called upon to identify bodies of victims.
The National Guard has also been deployed to help search for people who might be buried in the devastation.
There are missing people. There are still people that are unaccounted for.
And President Trump is planning to witness the loss firsthand on Friday.
Our hearts are full of sorrow for the lives that were lost. It's a vicious thing, those tornadoes.
And we know you may be wondering how you can help those people impacted by the storm. We can tell you that 2 local organizations already have some efforts underway.
Active Grace and Camp Canby are putting together emergency kits for those Tennessee tornado victims. They've already received donations, and volunteers got to work last night putting together dozens of those kits.
I think it's just like a charity circle, it's to keep good things in our life, we do good things for others. And, I think that's a method that the camp and Active Grace have really worked on.
We are thankful for the prayers and appreciation, the time that people even consider just thinking about this mission and what we're able to do.
The organizations say they still need toiletries, clothes, and other basic items to keep the effort going. The emergency kits will be taken to Nashville in the next 2 weeks. To find out more on how you can donate, visit this story in the RTV6 app.
Now to Washington. The Federal Reserve has slashed interest rates by 0.5 point. Chairman Jerome Powell says this was to help protect the U.S. economy from the coronavirus outbreak. The surprise cut triggered a wild swing on Wall Street. Tuesday, the Dow closed down nearly 800 points, and the Nasdaq and S&P 500 also finished in the red. Although lower interest rates are good for stocks, making borrowing cheaper, the emergency cut signaled to investors that the U.S. economy may be at risk due to the COVID-19 outbreak. This was the first unscheduled emergency rate cut since 2008. It also marks the biggest one-time cut since then.
Also in Washington, John Bolton's book about working for President Trump has been delayed. The book, titled The Room Where It Happened, was due out this month, but the release date has been pushed to May so the White House can do a pre-publication security review. Bolton struck a deal to write the manuscript shortly after stepping aside as Trump's national security advisor in September. The book is now due out May 12th. It already has a significant number of pre-orders and is in the top 100 of Amazon's best-selling books of 2020.
The Supreme Court will take up a major abortion case today. It will be the first since Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch joined the bench. The two Trump appointees could tip the scales in the abortion fight. The case is a Louisiana law that requires doctors performing abortions to obtain privileges from a nearby hospital. Supporters say it was designed to keep unqualified doctors from performing abortions. Pro-choice advocates argue doctors who perform abortions would have a hard time getting admitting privileges. A similar law in Texas resulted in half of the state's abortion clinics closing.
For the first time in nearly a year, Australia is completely free from bushfires. The New South Wales Fire Service reported the good news Monday. Massive fires had been devastating the country since July, burning for 240 days. Thousands of homes were destroyed and 28 people were left dead. Billions of animals were also killed. The fires were brought under control in part thanks to heavy rains. That did lead to some flash flooding, but the fire service said the rainfall is, quote, much welcomed. Here at home, we have a calm, quiet day ahead of us, Kyle.
Yeah, things are starting off pretty good. It's certainly cool out there, but considering that our average low is in the upper 20s, we're not bad. We're about 10 degrees above that right now in Indianapolis. A little bit of a breeze, though, so we do have to talk about the wind chill factor. Feels like 30 in the city, feels like 26, though, in Peru this morning. So a little bit of a breeze will be a factor throughout the day in the forecast. Also, for a few of us, we've got some rain showers that we're tracking there in Illinois. Those are getting a little bit closer for you around Fowler. Also, Williamsport, Monticello, get ready for a few very light rain showers as the morning goes along. Here's a check of TrueCast, 8 o'clock this morning. And you can see we may see a couple of those get as far south as around Boone County and Hamilton County, but most of the rain activity, and it will be light, will stay to the north around Anderson, Muncie, into Hartford City and Marion later on this morning. But look at that, TrueCast, even as we go into the afternoon and evening, we should see a pretty good deal of sunshine. It's a good thing that the rain is going to be very light for us. We already are above average for the month of March, and look at the year so far. Typically, we've seen about 5 1/4 inches of rain. We are closing in on 10 inches of rain, so it is likely that your yard is still soaking wet, trying to soak in some of that rainfall. We have fairly dry weather here the next several days that will help us out. Today, that breeze also will help dry things out a little bit as we have those temperatures making their way back into the 50s. Now, where we do have the clouds, some showers this morning, a little bit cooler for you. Kokomo at 48 this afternoon. Marion, Indiana coming in at 47, but quickly as we work our way south across central Indiana, we see those temperatures rising. Brazil at 54, 54 in Connorsville, and 53 in Noblesville this afternoon, and numbers that will actually be mid to upper 50s around Bedford and Seymour. Greensburg coming in at 54 degrees. Now, temperatures, they are going to go on a little bit of a roller coaster ride here. We take a bit of a dip for the end of the week. After middle 50s again tomorrow, we've got 40 the high on Friday and 50 on Saturday. So we are going to see a little bit of a transition with some precipitation here. Chance for a little bit of light rain with that system as we go into Thursday evening. Again, that's not going to add up to much for us with the colder air in the area on Friday. Maybe a couple of snowflakes out there again. not a big deal. We are going to see very light precipitation the next couple of days. Overall, more dry time than anything else. 7-day planning forecast, there is that pretty dry stretch of weather. The cool down for Friday, but the weekend looking really nice right now, as we are going to have dry conditions. 50 for the high on Saturday, 60 on Sunday. Next chance for some widespread rain. That's going to hold off until Monday, Lauren.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on those roads as you're heading out there on this Wednesday. Here's a look right now at your drive on I-74 to the southeast. From Acton Road up to the I-465 ramps, no delays. It's a 5-minute drive, so let's take you over to the west side, give you a live picture of I-465 near the Sam Jones Expressway. Traffic's moving along up to speed, both northbound and southbound. Of course, we'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads as you're heading out there this morning. It's 5:51 as more people talk about the importance of mental health. Employers are getting on board. Companies like Dell, Delta, LinkedIn, and Visa are bringing mental health professionals in for their employees. Those workers have access to one-on-one sessions with therapists in the workplace at no cost. The American Psychological Association says the office may be the perfect place to help people access mental health care. Experts say the access to those services has shown productivity increases as well.
Take a look at this. Bentley has unveiled a vehicle that costs way more than most homes. The Mulliner Bacalar is a roofless car with a $2 million price tag. On the inside, wood trim that's 5,000 years old. It also has a 650 horsepower 12-cylinder engine and an 8-speed transmission. The Bacalar is Bentley's first in a new line of very rare, highly customized cars. Only 12 of the vehicles have been made, and they're all already pre-sold. Lauren, I have a feeling that you wouldn't see one of those out on the roads. It's going to be kept in a garage somewhere.
A little too risky, perhaps.
Yes.
All right, well, Columbus North grad Josh Spidell ended his college basketball career on a high note. Coming up, how his team came together to make his senior night one to remember. It's 5:52. We'll be right back.
Everybody gets a touch.
And make your home a drive-out home.
An amazing moment last night at the University of Vermont. Josh Spidell, the young man from Columbus, Indiana, getting his first college start. You'll remember Josh nearly lost his life in a car accident 5 years ago, leaving him with a traumatic brain injury. Vermont, however, kept him on scholarship. Last night, he got a chance to be a part of the team on senior night, and all of his hard work leading to this special moment, Josh scoring his first college points. A special evening for everyone involved. Vermont then went on to win the game 85-62. We've had so many good stories like that
out of basketball games.
Yes, yeah, lately it's been pretty great.
Yeah,
so
it's so cool to get an update on him because we haven't seen him in a while here. So that's
and a good update, a positive story.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
All right, Kyle, do you have some positive news for us in the weather department?
We do. We're getting into the first days of March here, and looking at the outlook for the entire month. If you are the fan of spring getting here and some warmer temperatures, look at this. Above average to well above average temperatures are expected, and our average high climbs quickly. We'll be close to 60 for that average here as we get to the end of the month. As far as precipitation, yeah, it looks like it will stay fairly active, above average in the rainfall department for us as well. Stick around, though. We have a whole lot more coming our way on the next hour of Good Morning Indiana right after this break.